Okay, my dad and mom, when they come to visit, every time they come, there's a big request for my dad's soup. So I'm gonna make a video so you guys can have some of the best soup I've ever had in my life. Here's my dad, also named Rudy.
All right, this is called Escarole Soup. When I was a kid, it was the main dish because it contained beans. Usually cannellini beans, and that was your protein. I was making it in the firehouse one day, and one of the firemen said, "Oh, my mother puts little meatballs in there." All right, so I put little meatballs in it. Now I can never make it without the meatballs because that's what they want. With the meatballs, it's called Italian wedding soup. When I was a kid, it was for Escarole, it was escarole and beans, period. And it was the main dish. Anyway, we're gonna start by browning some garlic in olive oil. All right? That's it.
Okay, Pop.
Look, this is for a very large pot of soup. There's no specific amounts you have to use of anything. You can't make a mistake with this. Anyway, I'm browning some garlic. Depending on what size pot you're using, a small. This is a big pot because my son wants to keep it for 6 years, you know. In his freezer.
If I put it in the freezer in bags, 3 or 4 months from now, I could take it out and take pictures of myself eating it and send it to my parents.
All right.
Anyway. Gotcha.
All right. I got fresh escarole. It's pretty clean. I'm used to buying it from a farm, and it's very dirty. You got to wash it. But I'm going to wash this anyway. Cut off the heel, then I'm going to cut the bunch in about 2-inch pieces, 1.5 inches. Like I said, there's any way you do this is no big deal. All right, what I did was I put a colander in a bowl and I filled it with water. The easiest way to rinse this, like I said, it looks really nice and clean. So I'm gonna put it in the colander. Bowl is full of water. I'm washing it. Like I said, this was pretty clean. The stuff I buy from a farm got a lot of black dirt on it, so I gotta do this. I like to wash any vegetables anyway. All right. Drain the water off. All right. I lightly browned the garlic in olive oil. Now I got my washed and drained escarole. It's still wet. Put it in here. Toss it around. It'll get limp. You don't want to go crazy, but it'll get limp. I'm going to make this giant thing.
I get it. You're making a big pot. So the big pot, so far, he's got 3 heads in there.
No.
All right, more on deck. All right, so far he's got 3 heads of escarole in there because it's a big pot, and we're going to be putting some up. He's working on the last one. How many quarts do you think that pot is, Dad?
This is 20 quart.
20 quart pot. That's the big pot we used to use. This is its daddy.
This is what's left in a bowl after I washed.
What the heck is that, sand?
It's sand.
You want to dump that in the garbage pail, right?
Right. This sand was on, it's not much because they were pretty clean. But that's one of the reasons I wash it.
Hold on.
It's gritty.
Oh, that's straight up sand.
Yep.
Wash. Wash your vegetables, or you're going to be eating sand and grinding your teeth down. Then you'll be like a caveman.
Okay.
No offense to the caveman.
I have to add some beef stock. You notice the escarole, it's not completely mush. You just want to toss it till it's wilted. Then I'm going to add some, I usually use unsalted beef stock. A friend of mine, I gave him the recipe, he made it, he didn't have stock. So he used bouillon cubes. You know how salty bouillon cubes are? Well, the soup came out very salty. You can always add salt. Now we're gonna put meatballs in this. That's gonna add some salt. It has cheese and the meatballs, so that's more salt. So, all right, I put 3 quarts of beef, and I have one of chicken. I'm gonna add that. I like beef. You could use chicken, beef, whatever one. That's it. All right. At this point, this soup is good. It's done. Don't need cooking for hours or anything.
How many cans do you have for this big pot?
I got 3 for this.
Okay, big pot, 3 cans of cannellini beans.
No,
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, the amount is not critical, no matter how you look at it.
So, you could add beans depending on if you really like them or you're not thrilled. You could put more or less.
Reduce sodium, so I'm not worried about rinsing them off. And I like the liquid in these adds a little flavor to the soup.
There you have
But
it.
if these are regular, not reduced sodium, they got a ton of salt in them. Sodium, it's 120 milligrams a serving. So this is 3.5, so it's 400 milligrams in this can. That comes to 5% per serving, which is not too bad. And it doesn't add a significant amount of salt flavor to the soup. Italian parsley has flavor to it. The curly parsley is just for garnish. I don't know if it's got any flavor. I never use it. All right, I'm rinsing it because this sometimes has sand and dirt on it also. So,
Well, I saw all the sand that was in the escarole. That's crazy.
all right, now I'm just gonna take some leaves off this parsley. All right, I rinsed the parsley. I took the leaves off, eliminated the stems. And now I'm just gonna chop it. And I like the Italian parsley actually adds a little flavor to whatever you put it in. I'm gonna put it in meatballs. Now, I'm gonna make meatballs like my mother used to make. When I was in a firehouse with a lot of different guys, if 10 guys made meatballs, it was 10 different meatballs. So there's no right way or wrong way when it comes to making Italian food, Italian sauce, etc. There is no right or wrong way. The flavor is the big part.
Okay, on a side note, Miss Karen buys our cheese at Costco, Pecorino Romano, and then she uses the Ninja, and we got this empty shaker bottle, and when it's empty, she'll grind up some more. This cheese is fantastic. We were using cheese that was already grated, but we learned that sometimes they add something to the cheese so it doesn't chunk up in the bag. So this is what we're using. You use whatever grated cheese you want. But the Pecorino Romano, whole different world.
You can use any kind of chopped meat. First I'm gonna put a little salt. This is for 4 pounds of meat. A little pepper. All right. Now I'm gonna put my chopped garlic. Try and spread it around a little bit. Remember, this is 4 pounds of meat, so you guys gotta make what, whatever. If you don't like garlic, you're gonna have to take it easy. This is the chopped parsley, Italian parsley.
Yep, this is not a studio. This is our house. We have dogs.
All right, now I'm gonna add some grated Romano cheese. I like a lot of cheese.
You want us to grind up some more?
And I'm gonna add some breadcrumbs. I like flavored breadcrumbs. I like panko, any kind. You don't want to go crazy on the breadcrumbs because we're not making bread balls. We're making meatballs. All right. I use an egg, 1 for each pound of meat. So I'm putting 4 eggs in this one. All right, now I'm gonna mix it all up. Now, usually now, I got a frying pan. I'm gonna fry these, and after the first batch coming out of the frying pan, my wife has to taste it. And if it don't taste right, then I gotta add stuff. But you get the idea. There's no exact recipe here. The biggest problem with making meatballs for these is you gotta make them small. So it takes forever to do your meatballs. If you're only doing a pound of meat, it's not too bad. When I'm making Rudy's 6-year supply. I'm using 4 pounds of meat. Sometimes I use 5 pounds. We'll see. Now, what I'm gonna do, I got a frying pan on the stove with a little olive oil in it. And I'm gonna brown these meatballs in the olive oil. And when they're done, I can pop them right into the soup. It's just regular olive oil. I use, extra virgin in salads, but for frying, it burns, so I use regular olive oil. Anyway, thing is, after these meatballs are done and I'm putting them in the pot, I pour whatever fat or oil is left in the frying pan, I pour it out. Usually I'll save a can from the beans and I'll pour the oil in there. This way I don't put it down the drain of the sink. Anyway, then I'll take and put a couple of spoonfuls of soup out of the pot into the frying pan after I throw the fat off. And I'm gonna scrape all the drippings that browned on the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna mix it with some of the soup from the pot, and then I'm gonna pour that right in the pot. At that point, the soup is done. It don't have to cook for hours or anything like that. It'll meld all the flavors. When I like to add a little macaroni to the soup. I don't add it to the soup, but to the bowl. I'll make some orzo, little tiny orzo, and I'll put a spoonful in the bowl and then put the soup on top of that. And that's the way I'll serve it. Some people like to add cheese on the bowl. It's personal preference. You don't have to.
Oh boy, if you could smell what it smells like in this kitchen right now. Okay, this is going to be the test meatballs. Mama Fiduch. Mama Fiduch is on her way in. She's going to check them. And if she approves, the rest of them will be made. If not, we'll have to add whatever we have to add to get them to where they're supposed. Has she ever been wrong, Pop?
She's your mother. Has she ever been wrong?
Oh boy. Let me go get her.
Yep.
This is the moment of truth. Are we good to go?
Perfect.
Perfect?
Perfect.
You heard it. Mama Fiduch says we good to go. Rest of the meatballs are going to get cooked. I'm going to work. There's a step. This is a very important step, scraping that pan. So I'm going to have my mom come in here and videotape that and then send it to me so I get it in the video. You have to do it. You're going to look in the pan. You're going to say, I'm not putting this burnt stuff in my soup. But when it comes to sauce or soup, this has to happen. Trust me. Or you can do whatever you want. We'll be back.
Okay, looks like this is the last batch of meatballs. You can see, taking them out with a slotted spoon, trying to drain as much grease off it as I can. There'll still be some grease in the soup, which you can skim off the top. There won't be much. Okay. Now, all right, the meatballs out. That's all a little olive oil, but mostly fat from the meatballs. I'm going to pour it into a can. Looks like I need another can. I do have another one too. This was a ground chuck, which is 80% meat, 20% fat. All right. Now, this is the frying pan I got. I am going to put some broth from the soup in this frying pan. The heat's on with this, and I'm gonna scrape the drippings off this frying pan. The stuff that gets brown in a frying pan is usually the blood from the meat. And it gets burnt onto the bottom of the pan. It will, this wasn't really burnt much. Anyway, that looks like about it. Now I'm going to put that right back in the pot. That will add flavor. That'll add flavor to the soup. And I'll figure in on how to serve it later. Okay?
Okay, here's the orzo. Water's almost ready. There we go.
Alright, we're just gonna boil some orzo up. We got a lot of people, so a pound might not be enough. We're gonna make about 1.5 pounds. And
Why don't you
that's it. It takes, instructions say 7-8 minutes. I like it tender, so I'm gonna make it 10 minutes. That's it.
Okay, everybody's got their bowls. And this is the finished product. I wish you could taste it through the camera.
Yummy, yummy.
See the steam coming off?
Thank you, ma'am.
That's Papa D's Escarole Soup. Firehouse special.
The best.